Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Sally Speaking. And in this video, we will be speaking about the unsolved murder of Paul Stine. Paul Stine was born on December 18th, 1939, in California, to Theodore Stine and Audra Busby. At some point during Paul's early years, his parents divorced. His mother ended up remarrying to a man named Roy James Harrison. At some point in time, Paul met a woman named Claudia Stark Westcott, whom he eventually married on May 27, 1969. During that time, he was also working as an affiliate for American United Life in San Francisco. From the research, it seems to be an insurance company based in Indianapolis. I'm not too sure. I could not find a whole lot of information about it. He was also returning to San Francisco State College, for graduate studies in English in the fall of that year, 1967. One of the jobs that Paul had was working as a taxi driver. On October 11th, 1969, at 9:40 in downtown San Francisco, Paul picked up a customer. The customer requested to be dropped off at Washington and Maple Street in the Presidio Heights section of San Francisco. However, Paul never made it to Washington and Maple. He was shot dead on Washington and Cherry Street. The perpetrator was unaware there were three witnesses watching him from across the street in a house. The three teenagers were alerted by the commotion. They came to the window and they witnessed a man sitting in the front seat with Paul, doing something to him. From my research, it doesn't seem like they witnessed the actual murders, or maybe they just heard the gunshot. That's why they went. It's probably they heard the gunshot and went to be nosy. What they witnessed was purely the aftermath. They then witnessed the perpetrator proceed to wipe the interior and exterior of the cab before walking away. Walking away. They called the police, and as the suspect was walking away, one of the teens tried to follow him but was stopped by the police. Okay. 3 minutes later, the police witnessed a white man walking down, I believe, Jackson Street. The officers were Donald Falke and Eric Zelms. They kept driving past the man because the dispatcher told them they were looking for a black male unsub. Oh, well, not unsub, but suspects. Too much come to mind over here. When they realized the information was wrong, it was too late. The suspect was gone. The three teenagers provided a description of the perpetrator, and it was used to create a police sketch. Officer Don Falke corroborated the sketch, but will go on to provide multiple descriptions. The one that we're going to use is the one from 1969. The suspect was observed by Officer Falke. Good Lord, that's name Falke. Was a white male adult, 35 to 45, about 5'10", 100 to 200 pounds, middle heavy build, I guess he had a big midsection, big stomach, basically. Barrel chested, medium complexion, light colored hair, possibly graying in the back. The lighting may have caused this effect. Oh, when they say effect, they're saying caused it to look like his hair was like graying. Crew cut, wearing glasses, dressed in dark blue, a dark blue waist length zipper type jacket, navy or royal blue, elastic cuffs, and a waistband zipped partway down, brown wool pants, brown wool pleated type pants, baggy in the rear, rust brown. May have been wearing low cut shoes. Subject at no time appeared to be in a hurry, walking with a shuffling lope, slightly bent forward. The subject general appearance, was Welsh ancestry. Okay, so here's when it gets a little complicated. On October 13th, 2 days after the murder of Paul Stine, the San Francisco Chronicles received a piece of mail. Enclosed was a letter and a piece of Paul Stine's shirt. I think that's what the kids were actually witnessing when they said they saw the killer, or the when they saw the killer interfering with Paul Stine's body. They were probably witnessing him either completely ripping the shirt or the ending part of him taking the shirt. When I in the letter that was received by San Fran Chronicles, Paul Stine's killer was revealed. And when I say revealed, I mean we learned that he was a victim of the man terrorizing Northern California, the Zodiac Killer. Paul Stine was to be his final confirmed victim. Paul, in the letter, I'm going to read a portion that pertains to Paul Stine of the letter that was sent on October 13th. This is the Zodiac speaking. I'm the murderer of the taxi driver over by Washington Street and Maple Street last night. To prove this, here is a bloodstained piece of his shirt. I am the same man who did in the people in the North Bay area. This, the SF police could have caught me last night if they had searched the park properly instead of holding road racers with their motorcycles, seeing who can make the most noise. The car drivers should have just parked their cars and sat there quietly, waiting for me to come out of cover. In another letter sent on November 9th, he also wrote about Stine. Now, one of the things about the Zodiac is I believe he purposefully misspelled words that makes it very difficult to understand. And some of the things I was able to understand, but some things it was just too difficult. Well, not too difficult, but it was just impossible to decipher. So I'm going to read the letter again that's pertaining to Stine and the police, and then we'll go from there. This is the Zodiac speaking. Up to the end of October, I have killed 7 people. I have grown rather angry with the police for their telling lies on me. So I shall change the collecting of slaves. I shall no longer announce to anyone when I commit my murders. They shall look like routine robberies, killings of anger, and a few fake accidents, etc. The police shall never catch me because I have been too clever for them. Number 1, I look like the description passed out only when I do my thing. The rest of the time, I look entirely different. I shall not tell you what my disguise consists of when I kill. He misspelled disguise on purpose, but I was able to figure out he was saying disguise by like a phonic. I don't know. I think by just like sounded it what it would sound out, and that's why I got disguise. Number two, as of yet, I have left no fingerprints behind, contrary to what the police say in my killings. I wear transparent fingertip guards. As it is two coats of airplane cement coated on my fingertips, quite unnoticeable and very effective. The reason why he says this because the reason why he says this because in Paul Stine's in the taxi that Paul Stine was shot dead in, they found a bloody fingerprints. Now the police have never confirmed whether this was the Zodiac or not, but it seems like they may believe it was the Zodiac killer. And another murder attempt that he had. When I say murder attempt, I believe it was Lake Berryessa. He wrote on the victim's cars, and there's a palm print. So even if they don't have like a fingerprint from him, they have a palm, what they believe to be a palm print. Back to the letter. Three. My killing tools have been brought. He put brought in. He put brought in like in the letter he put brought in. But I'm just gonna say what I think he actually was what he meant, but he just refused to put in. My killing tools were brought through the mail order outfits before the ban went into effect, except for one, and it was brought out of state. See, he spelled brought out of state. So bought maybe he could have really thought bought in. So as you can see, the police do not have much to work on. If you wonder why I was wiping the car down, I was leaving fake clues for the police to run all over town with. As one might say, I gave the police some busy work to do to keep them happy. I enjoy needling the blue pigs. Hey, blue pigs, I was in a park. You were using the fire trucks to mask the sound of your cruising prowl. He put it was cruising prowl. I don't know what he I don't know what he meant. I don't know what he meant there, but I know I think I know what he meant, but the way he spelled it was god awful. The dog never came within 2 blocks of me, and they were to the west. They were only two groups of parking about 10 minutes apart. I don't know what he means with that. Apart. Then the motorcycles were about 150 feet away from south to northwest. I believe they came real close. He hid in a park from. There was a report from someone that said they saw someone running in the park by the Paul Stine murder scene. So he probably laid in the park, and they probably were close to him, but not close enough to actually catch him. Okay, here's more of the letter pertaining to Falk and Zones. Falky and Zones, my apologies. P.S. Two cops pulled the goof. About 3 minutes after I left the cab, I was walking down the hill to the park when the cops pulled up, and one of them called me over and asked if I saw anyone acting suspicious or strange in the last 5 to 10 minutes. And I said yes. There was a man who was running by waving a gun, and the cops peeled rubber and went around the corner as I directed them. I disappeared into the park, a block and a half, never to be seen again. Hey, pig, doesn't it rile you up to have your nose rubbed in your boo boo? Okay, now neither Falke or Zelms publicly admitted to speaking to the Zodiac that night, but they did admit to seeing him later on. And they confirmed, at least Falke confirmed that the sketch was correct. Officer Zone would die like 2 months later after Paul Stine's murder. His wife would later come out and admit that not Paul, that Eric Zone, told her they had stopped the killer, the Zodiac killer, and spoke to him. Now, Falke is adamant about never having spoken to him. He said they just drove by him very swiftly, but he was able to give a great like description about him from like the back of his head to his shoes. So that's amazing. There was another cop named Pellicetti who apparently also knew that they spoke to him, but they did not publicly announce it because of how shameful it is, how shameful it was. It Falke ended up getting shamed either way. So at the end, them not telling the truth, or at least not being fully honest, didn't help because he was still like crucified about it because he left like literally one of the, if not the most infamous killer in American history's walk past him. Paul Stine murder remained unsolved, as are all the murders attributed to the Zodiac. Paul Stine's widow recently passed away in 2024. So I can understand. Well, okay, thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. This is my first video. It's not the best, but I worked hard on it, and I hope you will subscribe and follow me. I will try my best to do more videos to get better at it. Thank you. Sorry for the sound. I just got a new microphone. Well, I'm not using it now, but um I just I just got a new microphone and I plan on doing more Zodiac videos. But I think I do believe that they spoke to the Zodiac killer. And I think it they say how some people will say like, well, how could you have a conversation with him? It was not a conversation from what the Zodiac said, which I do, but the Zodiac, when you if you follow the Zodiac, you know he blows a lot of, well, basically a lot of shit in the air. He kind of toots his own horn. He's kind of me centric. He and he will lie. He lies about how many people he killed. Only he's only, I don't want to say canonically because it's not, he's not like freaking Jack the Ripper, even though he is kind of American Jack the Ripper, but he's killed 5 people. He has a habit of mainly killing women though, and he usually does couples, which is why Stein was such a like, whoa, what happened? Because he was only killing couples. But I do, back to the subject. I'm getting off track, and I will lose track of my thought instantly. I do believe they spoke to him. They were probably driving up the block, and they basically, as the Zodiac said, they asked them. They said, "Hey, have you seen anyone?" And then he answered, and he walked away. So that's that that's what happened. That's what exactly what happened, and it's not South Case or Zone's fault. This dispatcher gave them wrong the wrong description of the perpetrator. Had they gave them the right description, they would have saw this man. They would have stopped him and they would have arrested him. Be honest, if they would have stopped him, he probably would have tried to shoot and kill him. So maybe they might be lucky because even though he appeared to be cool and calm to them, he was definitely on guard because he had to get up out of there. Anyway, again, thank you for listening to listening to the video, and I did ramble a lot, so thank you for listening to that part too. I was incredibly nervous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please like, subscribe, and tell a friend.